Welcome to another speaking tip. And I'm going to be talking again about putting humor in your speech. Over the last 8 weeks, I've gone over 8 specific different techniques you can use to put humor into your speech. And one of the things that I've repeatedly said is that humor is entering a surprise element into your speech, something the audience does not expect. And that's really the component of what humor is. They think you're going to say one thing and you say something else that surprises them, and that surprise is the reaction of humor. Now, I've given you 8 specific techniques. I could probably spend the next gazillion years and give you 8,000 specific techniques. But the one thing I wanted to show you was it is a way of putting something unexpected. So what I want to show you now is I've gone through the archives of the World Champion competition, and I've just picked 4 examples of humor. And each one is a little different, but each one is a surprise. And that's what I want you to look at. How could you put a surprise element into your speech that would throw the audience off? And when you do that, this keeps the audience engaged in your speech. It's if they know where you're going and they know what you're going to say, they have a tendency to relax into it and they can predict where you're going. Humor, because of the surprises that they don't expect, keeps them engaged. It brings them back into the present on your speech, so they're with you and they're following you, and they're not getting ahead of you and think they know where you're going, or relax into the fact that there's nothing that's disrupting their thinking for them. So let's look at these 4 examples, and just look at the component that it was a surprise element that you weren't expecting. Okay, and the first one I'm going to use here is, let's see what we got. It's down here. This is David Brooks. David Brooks is the 1990 winner, world champion. So let's watch what David does here.
No, this was the era of Superman, Sky King, and Roy Rogers. Well, my brothers and I would watch their shows, and when they were over, we would go outside and reenact them. My older brother, of course, he'd get to be Roy Rogers. So naturally, I got to be Dale Evans.
Now, I'm sorry that was chopped up there a little bit, but he gave 3 examples of Superman, Roy Rogers, and Sky King. And so his brother gets to be Roy Rogers, and you're thinking that he's going to be Sky King or he's going to be Superman. But those of you that don't know it, Dale Evans was Roy Rogers' wife. So that was not expected. That was a surprise to come into the speech right at that point. Okay, I'm going to slip out of this one and we'll take a look at the next one and we'll see how the video works in this one. Now, this is one from Robert Ferguson, who took 3rd place in 1998. And let's watch what Robert does here.
Keep us apart on the last night before I left for home. She called me and said, I have to see you. Come to my house late and bring a ladder. Look for the open window. Then climb up and kiss me. Oh, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, that was a motivational speech. When I saw her.
Okay, so what we have there is that was a motivational speech. He was talking about a teenage girlfriend that he had in one summer, and you saw the laugh that he got. And he actually just got the laugh too when he was looking at Mr. Chairman. Quite honestly, I'm not sure what caused that laugh, but the audience was responding very positively to his speech at that point. But I love the point where he just says that was a motivational speech. That brought it back to a Toastmasters audience, what everybody was trying to do. And it also exemplified how motivated he was, I think at 13 or 14 years old, to go kiss this sweetheart from the summer that he'd had. Okay, let's look at my next one here. There we go. Okay, this is Vicus Jaringa, who is the 2007 first place winner. And let's watch what Vicus does to enter a surprise into his speech.
I stared at the return address, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
The graduate school of my dreams. Would it begin with congratulations? Oh, you've got to be kidding.
Okay, would it begin with congratulations? Or the thing you think he's going to say is, we regret to inform you, we appreciate, some very sincere response. But of course, the letter would go, you've got to be kidding. And you saw the response that it got. It was a surprise, was not expected by the audience. We're going to look at one more here, who is Mark Hunter, who's the 2009 world champion. And Mark does a very clever thing. He's talking about disabilities. And of course, he's in a wheelchair. So let's look at what he says here and how he enters a surprise into his presentation.
For the rights of those with a disability. Many, many times I would put on the armor of righteousness, mount my trusty gray horse. Yeehaw!
Okay, we saw that. So mount my trusty gray horse. And what does he do? He rocks his horse back and sort of rears it up. Audience is not expecting that. They understand the metaphor, the analogy rather, of the wheelchair being his horse, but he actually rears it up like on it. So each one of those is a surprise element. And the essence of really bringing humor into your speech is being able to think throughout your entire speech about what could I do to throw the audience off or put something in there that the audience is not expecting. And as I said, I could put together volumes of research and trying to break down every little thing and still not cover it, because there is no science really, from my perspective. There's no science to humor. It's actually the emotion, the thinking, it's a very emotional aspect to how these things come together. So we have different techniques we can use, but to do that, you have to play with them, see what's going to work. A lot of stuff falls flat when you try it. And one of the things I have to get used to in speeches, it's happened to me a number of times. Many times I did not get laughs where I thought I was going to laugh. I was expecting the audience to have a great response, and we had to be able to remain composed and walk through that point. The other thing that can happen is you can get laughs when you didn't expect to get a laugh. And you've got to be ready for that just as well, so that if the audience is laughing, you let them laugh. And then once they stop laughing, you continue your speech. But the essence here is just put a surprise in your speech, disrupt the thinking of your audience, push your message across, and I will see you next week.